So, this part here na mention ni Liza no na parang na-confuse siya kasi nga 2-year-old pa siya. But even at that age, meron na kasing mga negative memories na nakikreate. No, subconsciously, she's internalizing every event, every happening as something negative. Hi guys, my name is Junes. I'm a psychiatric major and nakakamangha at kind of a shocking reveal no kasi yesterday nakita ko tong video no na nag-showcase ng one of the best actress of my time and it's no other else than Liza Soberano and kinda intriguing kung anong pinag-reveal niya no and we'll try to put some insights to it kung ano ba yung meron sa mga sinasabi niya. We'll try to play just a clip of the video kasi mahaba kasi yung video. We'll try to point out on the highlights of her video during the podcast. No, so we'll try to play it muna. I cannot like the
Can you
name.
take us to your origin story? Where were you born? What did home feel like for you in your earliest years?
Ganda pa
My
rin.
origin story.
Mhm.
So I was born in Santa Clara, California, January 4th, 1998. And I was born to Jacqueline and John. My mom was 18 at the time and my dad was 22. And they both came from very different worlds.
Okay.
Culturally, just literally like physically. They grew up in two different countries.
Okay.
But the one thing that they had in common was they were so misguided. And so when I was born, these two kids, they were still children. They just, and I feel like I'm giving them excuses right now, and that's what I always do, but they literally didn't know what to do. They were working multiple jobs to make ends meet.
Okay.
My mom sadly had like a really bad addiction to crystal meth.
Oh,
And
okay.
my dad, he was a chemist, among many other things.
Okay. Very interesting tong part na din to, no? Kahit simula pa lang because I've worked in a drug addiction field for quite some time. I think it's for 10, 11 years already. And it's a very intriguing mix of a couple, no? Na yung isa ay naging addicted sa meth. Meanwhile, yung father din naman niya is isang chemist na marunong gumawa ng meth. No, so I don't know if it's a perfect combination, pero what I'm pretty sure of is that yung combination na yun is pretty scary. Kasi yung chemist, kaya niyang gumawa ng yung crystallized meth kahit saan siya magpunta. No, so the access is already there. Intriguing.
And so they were kind of like this Bonnie and Clyde duo. Not really thinking about the consequences for me. And soon after they got pregnant with my little brother, I was not even one yet. And
Okay.
then something along the way happened. My dad had a girlfriend and a baby with that girlfriend before my mom.
Oh, okay. Just
She had
before
filed
your
for a
mom.
restraining order against him. My dad had visited them and a big fight ensued, and eventually my dad got arrested. And because he had so many different cases filed against him, one was for making drugs,
For
two
sure.
was for carrying illegal firearms, and
Oh,
three was trespassing and not following the restraining order.
Okay.
My dad eventually got deported, and so my mom was left with just me and my brother, not really knowing what to do, not really having a plan. And her addiction got worse because she was even using while she was pregnant with my little brother, and so my little brother was born addicted to crystal meth. And
Okay. All right. So the mother was addicted even if she was pregnant. So ibig sabihin, hindi kontrolado yung addiction issue ng mother niya. No? And when we actually say that the brother was born under the influence of crystal meth, kasi nga, even during pregnancy is yung psychological like yung psychological part na yun, nafe-feel ng brother na meron pa rin merong substance na involved, and it might affect the brother in terms of psychological, in terms of emotional, and of course yung medical approach naman nito is that it's really dangerous na nagtitake ng droga while pregnant. It could cause like a disorder with the brain or malformation of the extremities, no? Pwede mangyari ang ganun. So, it's kind of sad na even during pregnancy, the mother is still addicted.
Yeah, that's kind of where it all started.
You don't have any memory of those years, do you?
I actually do, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of crazy because it comes to me in flashes, like in very vulnerable moments. Like like a sense will get triggered, and I can remember these moments. And these memories have been validated by the things that a lot of the grown-ups around me have told me.
Okay.
I think my earliest memory of kind of all this trauma was when after my mom and dad broke up, my mom started dating this guy named Michael.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this guy was really bad news.
Bad news. Okay.
I don't even know how long they dated for, but there was a moment where, and I only know this because family told me, but I remember specific moments during that experience. He had stolen a minivan from off the street,
Oh.
and then he took me, my mom, and my little brother, and I was 2 at the time. My brother was 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had like a very strong personality, even as a kid, I feel like. So the earliest memory I have is me trying to get out of a car seat. Why? Because every night they would sleep in the back of the van, my mom, Michael, and my brother. And I was left alone in a car seat.
Oh.
And then I realized, I put 2 and 2 when another memory came to me when I was much older. There was a moment when I tried to escape from the van as like a 2-year-old, but obviously like I didn't know how to get out of a car seat
Right.
at that age.
Right.
So I remember one morning I woke up and I just somehow knew how to unbuckle my car seat. And I remember I was making a run for it because at this point we were missing for a few days.
Alright, so sa sinabi niya yun, it points out na for some reason, subconsciously, di pa man siguro alam ni Liza at that age na may ganun, but subconsciously, parang feel niya yung trauma, no, na ibibigay ng boyfriend ng mother niya. So, intriguing.
I don't know how long, but my mom's family had already filed for a missing persons report,
Oh,
and
okay.
so we were actually on the news and everything for kidnapping. And so I ran out of the van, and I can only run so far, right? I'm a baby, I'm a toddler.
Mhm.
And then I remember Michael scoops me up. He woke up when I got out of the van.
Mhm.
He carried me, and he brought me back to the van.
Mhm. Okay.
And then there was this big fight between my mom, me, and Michael. Michael was getting really mad because obviously he was about to get caught.
Okay.
My mom had made an excuse because he was just screaming at me, and so she was like, there's some things we need to buy, and we were parked at like a Walmart or something, and she left me and my brother in the van to go buy those things. And when she left me, the next thing I remember, he was screaming at me, telling me to hit my brother in the head
Oh,
with my car seat,
that's
to use it to
crazy.
bash his head. And he was telling me that over and over, and I was like, why? No, I'm not going to do that. And he kept on telling me to do
Mhm.
that over and over again. And I just remember being so confused because I was like, why do you want me to hit my brother's head? Like, I'm a child. I can't even comprehend what's going on. And
Mhm.
my
Exactly.
brother's a baby.
Right.
So I was so lost. I didn't even know what to do. Like right now, I don't even know what a 2-year-old would even think of when you're telling them this.
Right.
And then the next thing I know, he hits me in the head with the bottom of a gun that he was holding.
Trauma na
Hits
yan.
me in the head. And then next thing I know it, my mom's running back to the car.
Mm-hmm.
And she had bought batteries for a flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few minutes passed and we hear sirens. And that's when I realized my mom had called the cops.
Okay.
So Michael had pushed my mom out of the car. And I don't remember any of this, but apparently like he had grabbed onto her hair from the window.
Oh.
And my mom's
Sakit yan.
like hair and scalp tore a bit because he started driving the car while holding onto her hair.
Shooks.
And then he got arrested. My mom got arrested, and the next memory I have is just being in the back of a cop car with my little brother, and I just remember looking at him and thinking like, what's going on?
So, this part here na mention ni Liza no na parang na-confuse siya kasi nga 2-year-old pa siya. But even at that age, meron na kasing mga negative memories na nakikreate. No? Subconsciously, she's internalizing every event, every happening as something negative. Like the presence of the cops, no, the presence of the mom and the guy fighting, yung part na nagtatakbuhan at inihila na yung buhok ng mother niya, no? Those kind of negative things has an effect of Liza. So it's basically considered as a trauma, and she's probably bringing that even up to today. So, but it's kind of surprising because we know her as one of the best actresses here na may magandang career, magandang mukha. But despite that, she's able to manage that big of a trauma.
I can't even imagine what that felt
Mhm.
like. Do you feel like there's like parts of it still in your body? Do you feel that pain?
I feel like immense fear. Like I just
Immense fear. Okay.
I don't feel pain for some reason. I just feel fear of bringing shame to my mom.
Okay.
Even though I know she was the one that did me wrong.
Do you feel like you have to protect her for some reason? That makes sense. It was your conditioning.
Mm-hmm. It was too much for a 2-year-old.
So what happened afterwards, my mom was hospitalized for a while and then she went straight to prison after, which leaves me and my brother parentless. So
Okay.
for a while we are staying like with our grandmas and everything, but you know they're really old, so they're not really in the condition to take on like a 2 and 1-year-old. So we eventually end up in foster care, and
Okay.
I don't remember, but apparently I went through a few homes before I landed in the one that I stayed the longest in. And the one that I stayed the longest in is the one that I have a very vivid memory of. It was with this lady named Melissa, and
Okay.
she was supposedly my mom's like high school friend, best friend. But like that was really far from the truth apparently.
Why?
So I ended up staying with her for like 8 months, and
8 months, tagal din.
I remember in the beginning it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't feel super happy or excited about the situation, but it was okay.
Okay.
And then eventually she started treating me differently as like a few weeks went on.
Oh.
And it started with one of her son's birthday parties. She had 3 kids. So he was celebrating his birthday and he had classmates over. And I remember her telling me and my brother that we should stay in our room from like this time till this time. And so we were just in our rooms, and then out of nowhere, her other son calls us, not the one that's celebrating his birthday, and me and my brother head out, and once we head out, they all started throwing cupcakes at me and my brother.
Oh, okay.
And then, I don't know if I saw that as something bad when I was little. I think in my head I thought it was like similar to a pajama party where we were like having fun, like a food fight. So I didn't really think of it as something that was mean. And then the next memory I have is for a while after that, like they would do like family movie nights once a week or something, and
Mhm.
I was the only one that wasn't allowed to participate in family movie nights because I was the family dog.
Ah,
So they would
okay.
literally call me the family dog, and
Oh, jeez.
I would have to sit in like a
Saklap.
big cardboard box behind the sofa. And I actually would just sit there like a dog.
Mm-hmm. Like being treated like a dog.
And then after that, like she started really abusing me,
Abusing.
not just psychologically. The first instance was I was eating spaghetti at the table, and this is why I have a phobia of meatballs now. And she
Okay.
forced me to eat a meatball,
Okay.
and I choked. She didn't do anything, she just watched me. And I think she did it on purpose to like make it look like it was an accident. But
Crazy.
for some reason, her husband would always step in when it got really bad, but he wouldn't do anything when it wasn't that bad. So he had saved me from choking. And then the next instance was their actual family dog took a shit on the carpet.
Okay.
And she had called me to come clean it up. So I went over, and then I was about to go get like a brush or a toothbrush or something. And when I came back, she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm cleaning it, like you asked me to."
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like in my little girl voice. And she was like, "No, I want you to use your tongue." And I thought she was kidding until she like grabbed the back of my head and forced me on the carpet.
No.
And then when you're in foster care, your social worker does regular checks on you. Like, I think it was at least once a month or something. And I noticed this pattern that, like, she would treat me really badly, but whenever it was about time that the social worker was going to come by, she would all of a sudden treat me
That's
really
good.
nicely, like extra
Crazy.
nicely. Like, she would give me
Naging
Twizzlers,
mabait.
and so I also grew up having like a weird kind of
Love.
love for Twizzlers.
Okay.
Randomly,
Okay.
she would just tell me all the things that I wanted to hear. And so whenever the social worker came by and would ask me questions and everything, I'd lie and I'd say everything was fine, that I was happy, that Melissa was so good to me, that the kids were so good to me, that my conditions were fine. I would lie because I would actually believe that she loved me when she said she loved me, because when you're a kid, that's just what you do.
Right.
You believe anything that an adult says because you think that they have their best interest for you. And then it got really bad because at one point she just stopped being like a human to me. So there was this one night that we were on our way to this fast food restaurant, and everyone was ordering food from like the drive-through, and she didn't ask me what I wanted. And so I was like, "Can I please have chicken nuggets?" And she was like, "No, you can't eat." So I started crying in the car, but I would always like silently cry. Like I wouldn't try to make a scene because I was so scared of what would happen. And then when we got home, as we parked in the garage, everybody went inside. And then she stopped me at the door, the entrance to the house, and she was like, "You can't come in." And I was like, "Why not?" She was like, "You've been a bad girl, so you need to be punished."
For no
And so
reason.
she asked me to sleep in the garage that night. And obviously I was like really scared. It was cold, it was dark, there was no bed. So I
For
kept
sure.
on banging on the garage door over and over, crying and screaming, and I was like, I'm sorry, please let me in." And then she opened
She's
the
the one
door,
begging.
and she told me that if I didn't shut up, that she would stuff Justin, my little brother, in the freezer.
Oh no.
And so I stayed quiet and I slept there that night. And then after that was a series of her not feeding me and then feeding me. So she would not feed me for days, and then all of a sudden feed me a lot of food. And it came to a point where she didn't feed me for like 3 days, I think. And the social worker made a surprise visit. And that was the first time that the social worker
Okay.
had seen the signs of abuse manifest on my body, because my stomach, I was so skinny, but my stomach was so big, it was bloated. And I had bruising, I had a scratch on my face. And yeah, that's when I stopped lying to protect her.
Okay. Woo. Ang dami nun. Now, I can't imagine how Liza was able to stand up, make a comeback, no, after everything that she'd encountered. Kasi nga, lahat yun, trauma yun, tapos severe form of trauma pa. Kasi nga, at the very early stage from her life, nararanasan niya na yun. So, crazy. Now, the last part of what she was talking about was plainly talking about abuse. So it was clear that the trauma that Liza had experienced is mainly related to the abuse that she was able to encounter. Probably starting with the parents, wherein she did not experience the full love that she was looking for. And then number two was probably with how she was mistreated while she was with Melissa, the one who foster cared for her. No, kakaiba. And these kind of abuse is something that will be carried on for the rest of her life. And itong podcast actually niya is a way for her to be able to vent out, to be able to express all the heavy burdens, all of the heavy feelings that she had when she was a child. So in a way, parang maganda din na-express niya yung sarili niya. No, now, just to give you guys an idea, when we actually say abuse, abuse comes in many forms, and it can happen. I mean, in so many things. It can happen in families. It can happen in workplaces. It can happen in institutions, or even in just the regular communities that you have in your own local setup. And there are probably, I guess we can point out nowadays, probably like nine forms of abuse or nine types of abuse. The first abuse that we will have to understand is the very common one, which is the physical abuse. Now, the physical abuse, from the term itself, it is inflicting physical harm or injury to another or to the person, especially if it's going to be to a child. That would include like hitting or slapping. It would also include other physical gestures like kicking or choking. For that matter, probably it might look unintentional, but when she described that she choked with the food that was fed to her, that was already a form of abuse. Other forms of abuse would probably, worst comes to worst, like burning or restraining a person from being able to move freely. So physical abuse is a very common thing. And Liza here expressed to us that she did encounter this type of abuse way back when she was younger. And it's again really impressive that she was able to stand up despite those traumas, triggers, and silent pains that she was bearing for quite some time already. Another form of abuse, number two, is what we call the emotional abuse. Now, the emotional abuse can be considered as well as a psychological abuse. So, emotional and psychological abuse at the same time. So, it basically points out to like damaging a person's self worth or harming or affecting the mental health of the person. And of course, damaging the emotional well being of the person as well. And examples of these emotional abuse would be yung pag-humiliate sa isang tao, kasama na yun yung tinatawag nating like manipulate or manipulation. Kasama na din yung constant criticism, like sinasabi na ang pangit mo, or wala kang muwang sa mundo, or you don't have any purpose here in the world. or intimidation, like wala kang magandang sinusuot na damit, meanwhile yung kapatid mo or yung stepbrother and stepsister mo are having the most gracious dress that they could wear. No, that's another form of abuse. Threats as well, like pag sinabi ng caretaker or kung sino man or ng family members, pag sinasabi nila na sige isumbong mo at papatayin ko siya. Sa case ni Liza, when nung nasa garage siya, di ba, sinabi niya na yung caretaker niya, yung nag-foster care sa kanya, sinasabi na sige, pag maingay ka, I will put your brother in the freezer. No? Nung sinabi na yun, syempre, affected si Liza, natatakot din siya para sa brother niya kasi younger yung brother niya, mas walang alam pa sa mundo, no? So, pretty scary. And of course, ito kasi both the physical and the emotional or psychological abuse can really affect the person all throughout. No, and she's very lucky that she's able to she has the strong will to go to get not to not be affected with the triggers na na-encounter niya. Number three type of abuse is what we call the verbal abuse. Itong verbal abuse, from the term itself, is when we use words to produce harm, no, or to control or to manipulate, no, or to belittle someone. No, pag sinabi ng tao sa'yo na sige, magingay ka, gagawin ko to, no? Those are example of verbal abuse. And kasama na doon yung pagsisigaw, the yelling, kasama na din yun yung name calling, pag tinawag ka niya, for example, yung example ka, Liza, yung family dog, no? That's an example of verbal abuse. You are a family dog. Diyan ka umupo sa sahig kasi hindi ka kasama sa pamilya. No, that's a verbal abuse. Kasama na din yun yung mga insults, no, mga degrading remarks, and of course yung mga shouting threats can be considered as a verbal abuse. And it's I don't know. I'm really shocked with how things were revealed through this podcast. Number 4 is the sexual abuse. Although hindi naman sinabi ni Liza, wala din namang naka-indicate na ganun. But sexual abuse, from the term itself, no, is that it's any non-consensual sexual contact or yung walang permiso or hindi voluntarily sinabit ng isang tao ang kanyang sarili to undergo a sexual activity, no? Or yun, may forced sex na nangyari. Kasama na din yun yung, like, let's say if there was an attempt of rape or na namumolestya na or mga sexual harassment or mga flirting. Siguro kasama na din yung mga forced pornography, no? At saka mga unwanted touching or binaliwala na yung safe space ng isang tao. So that's number 4. Number 5 is what we call the financial or the economic abuse. By the term itself, it's basically controlling or exploiting someone's access to like the resources, especially with money, in order for her or him to be able to buy, to eat, or get the things that she or he needs to, especially to survive. Big examples for this one would be like taking someone's salary. Like let's say, pag may pera si Liza, for example, na binigay ng social worker, pag kinuha ito sa kanya, that's gonna be an example. Kasama na din yung hindi pagbigay ng karapatan ng isang tao na pumunta sa work kung saan siya pwede magkapera or pumunta sa business niya para magkaroon ng pera. Kasama na din yun yung pagnanakaw, no? And at the same time, pressuring someone to have a debt, no? Mangungutang na lang, no? That's a financial and economic abuse. Number 6 is what we call a neglect. From the term itself, yung neglect itself is the failing to meet the basic needs, which in most cases refer to like the caregiving situation, kagaya ng nangyari sa kanya, where hindi siya pinakain ng 3 araw or hindi siya pinakain consistently for this week and the next week pinapakain na naman. So that's gonna be considered as a neglect. And basically, everything that involves food would be a neglect. It would also involve the shelter, yung hindi siya pinatulog sa kanyang sariling kwarto or sa kanyang sariling bed. That's a neglect. Kasama na din yung medical care. Nakikita na may mga bruises or nagsusuka or bloated na yung chan ni Liza. That is considered as a medical issue. So pag walang medical care na binigay, then it means there is what we call a neglect, no, as a form of abuse. Kasama na din yun yung emotional support na hindi niya nararanasan sa kay Melissa or kahit sa stepfather niya or yung sa kay Michael na dinidate ng mother niya. Siguro the same goes with the mother kasi nga addicted to meth and to the father na parang hindi siya binigyan ng proper guidance kasi nga na nahuli din, nakulong din yung ama niya. Another form of abuse for number 7 is what we call the digital or the online abuse that is very common nowadays, no? It is a form of abuse that involves technology and uses technology to, like, let's say, harass, to stalk, kasama na yun, or even to control someone, no, para gawin niya ang certain thing. No, that's gonna be a form of abuse. So, kasama na dun sa mga examples yung cyberbullying, yung tinatawag nating porn or revenge porn, or yung mga threats or online threats, no? Yung tracking via GPS, yung nagsustalk sa'yo, yung minomonitor ka sa iyong sariling social media account, that's gonna be a form of digital or online abuse. Number 8 would be the cultural and spiritual abuse. So, although hindi naman sinabi dito, but cultural and religious or spiritual abuse refers to the misuse of the religion, the culture, or the belief of a person para lang makontrol sila or para ma-harm sila. No? So, ginagawa yun as a part of an abuse. An example would be like forcing religion practices, no? Pag di niya belief yan pero pinapagawa talaga, no? Another one would be shaming based on the culture that she believed in. For example, if there was a tease that she's Filipino or pandak or maitim, no, those kind of stuff that is relevant to culture. And like the use of like beliefs to justify violence, no? Like sinasabi mo na okay lang na lalatiguhin kita kasi ginawa naman to kay Jesus Christ dati. No, those things are a form of cultural and spiritual abuse. And number 9, no, ang last na abuse na we'll try to talk about is that the tinatawag natin the institutional abuse, wherein yung abuse ay nagaganap sa isang institution or sa isang school, or kasama na din yun yung sa prison or sa hospital or sa mga healthcare facilities. Kasama na din yun sa tinatawag nating institutional abuse. So these are brought to you by examples na like may neglect sa isang caregiver, no, or may ginagawang excessive punishment like too much kasi di ba way back then one of the form of discipline is through the spanking, no, na ginagamit yung belt ng isang tao. So if it's really too much, then it can be considered an excessive punishment, and it can be a form of institutional abuse. Kasama na din yung mga systemic mistreatment, no, that can be considered as an institutional abuse. So with all these 9 things that I have mentioned, no, from physical abuse going to emotional and psychological abuse, kasama na din yung verbal abuse, yung sexual abuse, yung financial economic abuse, neglect, at saka yung digital and online abuse, kasama na din yung cultural and spiritual abuse, at saka yung institutional abuse. All these things, no, are a form of abuse, and they will contribute to the life of a person, no? Kahit hindi lahat ito ma-encounter ng isang tao, but also depending on the severity of the abuse, it can affect the person on how he or she decides on the things that she has or will be getting, no? So with this, I'm hoping that you guys are now familiar with the different types of abuse. We just need to make sure that we will be able to cope up with these encounters, or if may kakilala kayo na may encounter ito, hopefully he'll be able to cope up with the kind of abuse that he had encountered. Kaya nga, for one, me personally, I have always been a fan of how she acts. I would really like to salute Ms. Liza Soberano, for having the bravery, the courage to really express, to share to the world the real life story behind Liza. Kasi sa pagkakaalam natin, we all thought that she was or she came from a very good family. We all thought that she had a very good life before showbiz. So, a big salute, a big clap to the courage and the bravery that Miss Liza Soberano tried to express on this show. I know that it's really hard and it's really not easy to carry all these burdens, no, sa sarili mong mundo. But I'm really hoping and praying na with this podcast na nag-express ka sa mga nangyayari sa'yo, I'm really hoping that it also released, no, the burdens that you had for quite some time already. So, yun nga, I'm hoping that this one doesn't just imply with Miss Liza, but I'm hoping that everyone would also learn from this kind of experience. So, guys, always remember at this juncture, always take care of your mental health. Always take care of your mental health. Pray to God, believe in yourself, and always believe in the people that support you. Okay? Take care and have a good day.